What's up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's get into a little chitty chat about Mariah Huq's part 2 of her interview with Carlos King. So let's chat about it. All right, y'all. So part 2, if I'm being honest, I don't think it was needed. I really don't think it was needed, mainly because it didn't add anything. It wasn't as impactful as part 1. And I normally feel like if you're gonna give me a part 2 needs to be just as impactful, if not more, than part 1. And we didn't get that from this, or at least I didn't get that. Maybe others did, but I didn't. I was just kind of like, this could have just been a part of part 1, and we could have just had a 2-hour interview, because part 2 was only 37 minutes long, and I think part 1 was maybe like an hour and 30 or an hour and 40 maybe. So I just feel like they could have put it together. But I understand you want to keep your name in the algorithm, you want to keep people coming back to your channel, and it helps build revenue. So I'm not hating, it's just that, like, I just didn't see the purpose of a part 2, if you ask me. So they open up where they left off, and they talk about Jackie. You know, it's the whole thing, is Jackie the villain of the show? Mariah says yes. They talk about what happened in December. They also talk about how Mariah put Jackie on like a pedestal because she looked up to her. She said Jackie never really liked her. And Carlos was like, why do you think that? And he was like, she said, maybe my mom told me maybe it was because like I was young and successful. She also brings up an example where Jackie came over to her house and didn't really like compliment her house, or didn't even say anything really to her. I kind of doubt that, but she just didn't get a welcoming energy from Jackie. And Jackie does give kind of cold energy, but what I will say is, you putting her on a pedestal or looking up to her, that's a you problem. I really do get irritated when like people get mad at like celebrities or just regular people in general, that they're like, oh, you are my role model, I looked up to you. And it's like, you're looking up to someone who's human, so they're gonna make mistakes, and then to be angry that they don't vibe with you or like you the same way you like them is not fair, because they're not a god, they're human. So that just didn't, I just was like, okay, girl. The part about what happened in December with the whole 3-year-old video about what Dr. Jackie said on Heavenly's channel, Mariah brought up a good point. She was like, girl, I was surprised it was on Heavenly's channel. Her friend, the wild card, which is true, because that video legit came out of nowhere. It came out of nowhere. And I will be honest, I was surprised, especially because I thought it was recent, until somebody was like, no, the video is 3 years old. And so then I'm like, who went back into the archives, went through all of Dr. Heavenly's videos and reposted that one clip? It had to be somebody that just hates Jackie, because if y'all didn't notice that 3 years ago, why now? Other than to like want to embarrass her and shame her because of her talking to Kamala Harris about that said topic, and because y'all were mad that they got Quad off the show. Either way, it was messed up. I mean, she said it, but dang. And Mariah was saying how she thinks Jackie needs to fire her PR team, because the way she apologized, she was like, she did it the wrong way. And I agree with that too. I don't think it was wrong for her, because they made her saying that, they tried to say her reading off of the paper was bad. I don't believe that. I feel as though she was emotional. She probably was going to forget what she had to say. She should just read. And honestly, you know, some people might not like what I'm about to say, but it's whatever. A lot of y'all don't even care when people apologize. You just want to see people weak and vulnerable, so you could be like, oh, F your apology. You just want to see somebody crying on the internet trying to take responsibility, just so you can say, no, I don't accept your apology. That's why I don't get when certain celebrities or high profile like influencers come out and apologize, because I'm like, if you're not sorry, then I wouldn't apologize. It doesn't matter if people don't like me after I say what I say, or if I lose followers. You would probably gain more by just standing on what you said, you know, standing on business, versus you apologizing and then people being hypercritical of your apology and not accepting it anyway. And it's also not genuine. So I was just like, her reading didn't really bother me. She also talks about how she feels like production protects Jackie. And I believe that. Jackie is the face. Honestly, as much as everyone likes to say it's Quad and Mariah, and yes, when you think of Married to Medicine, you think of Quad and Mariah, but I think I've said this before in some of my Married to Medicine reviews. Jackie is the only person I've seen outside of, like, in the outside world doing speaking engagements at HBCUs, being on other not reality shows, but other TV shows that are talking to doctors about health and stuff, as well as like speaking at conferences. So it's like, yes, Quad and Mariah are like when people who deal in reality TV think of her, but other people who are not consumed by the reality TV world like us look at Jackie totally differently. And Jackie does bring credibility to the show in a way that some of the other doctors that have come on and who are still on do not, you know? So they talked about that. They then talked about Toya. They brought up Mariah also brought up like Jackie and Curtis's like the marriage, because she was like, what's going on over there? And she was like, is the network going to allow Jackie to show the pitfalls and the ups and downs of her struggling to regain her reputation after what happened with that clip? And she was just like, if they're not going to show that, then what's the point, you know? Like, they protect her. They need to show her trying to get back people's support, because there's a lot of people that were hurt by her comments. But they were also trying to say that Jackie is good at her job. And Jackie does. That's the thing. It's like people hate Jackie, but then there's a lot of, it's like Jackie is a gray area for people, because I think people respect what Jackie has given them, what Jackie represents, and what she's done for her community, but also don't like the attitude and the energy she brings. But then you have people showing, like regular people having positive examples that are life-changing, where you had Carlos on here talking about how, like, you know, Dr. Jackie, because Carlos be double talking, because one minute you want to trash the lady, the next minute you're bringing up how she helped you with your mom, because we know unfortunately his mom passed away from breast cancer, and he contacted Dr. Jackie and she was on the phone with him for an hour. If she was really horrible, she probably wouldn't even taken his call. Like, if Dr. Jackie, so I think it's like, it's a lot of gray with Dr. Jackie. Like, yeah, I think she could be nasty, nice, nasty. Yeah, she could be cold. Yeah, she probably be with the shits, you know, offline and stuff. But I don't think she's as horrible as people try to make her seem. I think it's very gray with her. Next, they get on the topic of Toya. They talk about how Toya is the realest one on the show. Toya has been the same since the beginning of the show, but they do feel like Toya is caught up in the TV world. We kind of know that with how many, you know, Toya and Eugene being nomads. Every season it was new house this, new house that, and it was like they were trying to up the ante each time. But it seems like Toya is calmed down and a lot more stable. They also talk about how Toya was the only person that Mariah didn't know, like, personally before casting. She said that when she found out, like, when people started to find out in the hospitals that Mariah was casting for the show, all the doctors and nurses were like, oh, have you met Toya Harris? Do you know Eugene and Toya Harris? You need to get Toya on the show. And so she met her, loved her, and casted her for the show. She also talks about how Toya is, like, about the TV stuff, but to a fault. Like, I guess she thinks it's to her detriment. Where she speaks about season 2, where they all got, like, she was trying to host a meeting where all the girls got together and kind of tried to be on one accord, on the same page about casting and money and stuff, but Toya actually ran and told production about it. Now, when Mariah was telling this story, she said this happened during season 2, and I'm like, were they even cool by that time? Because, you know, season 1 is when they was throwing hands by the pool in their gowns and stuff. So I'm just kind of like, I don't remember if they were cool. Like, I feel like they apologized to each other and they were moving forward, but I don't think they were on that type of, like, one accord where Mariah could host something like that and Toya would go and not run and tell production. Because that's what Mariah said. Mariah said Toya didn't come. She ran and told production about it. And she also talks about how she feels like she thinks Toya is longing for something of her own besides being a wife and a mother. And that's when Carlos brings up, like, Toya is from Detroit. He loved to say that all the time. And that she reminds him of his mom in the sense of, you know, his mom, I didn't know that man had 9 other siblings. His mom had 10 kids. And, you know, his mom life was revolved around being a mom and a wife, and it was to the point where she realized if she wanted something for herself, she might lose her marriage. And so he kind of sees that in Toya, but they both said that they were happy for her little, like, her wine thing. I mean, I think we all can see that Toya, the issue is Toya that hasn't found something to do. There's nothing wrong with Toya wanting to live this, like, rich black, like, housewife energy lifestyle. Like, you know, my husband makes all the money, I stay home, I go to the country club with the girls, they give me something to eat, I play tennis, I do this, and this. But also those women have other things to do. Like, they go to other charity events. They do a lot of, like, what's the word? Philanthropy. And we never see Toya do anything. So I think it's like they say, idle hands make a devil playground, or is it an idle mind? Either way, it's like you don't have nothing to do. You get bored very easily. And I think that's what it is with Toya. Like, she don't really got nothing to do. So it's like she be aggy with Eugene. Then get on the topic of Phaedra. And it's clear as day that Mariah don't really see it for Phaedra. Like, she was like, she don't get why Phaedra's on the show unless she's trying to do some malpractice suits, or, like, she just do not see it with Phaedra. Carlos doesn't really like that Phaedra's on the show, especially because he feels like the way Phaedra did Quad was dirty, and she did do her dirty because Phaedra was brought onto the show by way of Quad, so it was messed up for Phaedra not to have Quad's back, especially when they were all deciding whether or not they was gonna maintain a friendship with her, and then the whole airplane situation. But he feels like the girls are starstruck by Phaedra and they're not making her work. My thing is like, we knew what Phaedra was gonna give. At least I knew what Phaedra was gonna give, mainly because I've seen Phaedra on other shows. Mind you, she is doing really well on Traitors. Like, really well. Like, I enjoy her on Traitors. But even on Ultimate Girls Trip, what she gave on Ultimate Girls Trip is somewhat, I mean, it's a little bit more here, but she's not really doing a lot, you know what I mean? And I guess Mariah feels like Mariah and Carlos feels like the girls are starstruck by her and they don't want to give her too much fever. And then she also said, Carlos also says that Heavenly told him that she warned Phaedra about them wanting her to bring up Candy towards Phaedra. And I guess Phaedra called down to the network and cussed them people out and told them, don't play in my face like that. So that's why we haven't heard about Candy. Honestly, I don't want to hear about Candy because it's over. Like, Phaedra's not going back to Atlanta. Even with this whole new reboot news about Kenya and Portia being over there, which I don't believe, because it's like, I don't believe would be coming out on the Neighborhood Talk. Especially when has Bravo ever gave the Neighborhood Talk an exclusive? It always comes through People, B. Scott, or like E! News, or like some other, like, or Variety or something like that. I was just like, I don't believe this. But even with that, I don't see Phaedra doing what she used to do. Like, she is funny on this show. She's entertaining. I enjoy her to a certain extent. But I feel like we have gotten a little bit more. Like, the last episode about Phaedra, about the boys, we could tell that she's a great mom. I think the thing is, what we're missing is Phaedra needs to be way, way more personable. Like, okay, we learned that you did Reiki. Reiki was helpful with your divorce. And for Carlos to bring up wanting to see Apollo, I don't want to see Apollo on no Married to Medicine. After seeing Apollo on that, like, clips of Apollo on that VH1 couple show, I don't need to see Apollo. I don't want to see Apollo. He handsome and cute, but he dumb as a doorknob. So, Carlos then asks Mariah, what would be your dream cast? And Mariah ends up saying Janice. Actually found a picture of Janice, LOL. Toya, Buffy. She says she don't know about Sweet Tea because she was like, of what she's seen of Sweet Tea, she don't know. She just feels like the women are being harsh, more specifically Heavenly, and that it don't seem like they giving her a chance. She said she don't know about Dr. Alicia because she ain't seen nothing about her. She also, Carlos don't really see it for Alicia either because he was like, she don't speak. But I feel like this had to be filmed way before these last couple of episodes because Alicia been speaking for the past like 2 or 3 episodes. So this probably was filmed maybe in the beginning of January. Probably, yeah, the beginning of January. Because they were talking about Jackie's apology, which happened like in the middle of December, I think. So they then start to speak about the girls icing people out. I just don't like this narrative that they're trying to like push on these ladies that they just be icing everybody out. The only people that got kicked off the island or voted off the island were Mariah and Quad. Everybody else that has been brought to the show has subsequently like left on their own. I think Lisa Nicole Cloud came season 2. She ended up leaving, or production got rid of her. The girls were still hanging out and kicking it with her. Then season 4, we got Janice, and then Carrie. Carrie just wasn't asked back by production. And I think, was Carrie on season 2? I don't think Carrie was on season 2. No, Carrie was not on season 2. But it's like, Janice came during season 4. I don't know why production didn't ask her back, but everyone liked Janice. You had Contessa. Contessa stayed until season 9 and probably would have been on this current season, but she chose to leave. We got Buffy during season 7. Nobody iced Buffy out. The only 2 main people that were coming at Buffy were Heavenly and Jackie. Everybody else was kind of cool with Buffy and felt like what Jackie did was wrong. So that was a production choice. Anila came during season 8, and for the most part, all the girls was kicking it with Anila. Anila was out here taking pictures with the ladies up until it was time for her to get tooted and booted off the, off the show. So it's just kind of like, no one iced her out. And then Audra, I don't think anybody iced out Audra. Audra just wasn't around. Now, I know Audra did an interview with, what's his name? Oliver Twix, and she was saying how the atmosphere wasn't very welcoming, and it seemed like she had to do a lot of jumping through hoops to get the ladies to like her and stuff like that. But I don't think that they iced Audra out. I think all of these choices were production choices, and you need to put that on them. Like I said, the only 2 people that legit was like voted off the island were Quad and Mariah. And I honestly think, like Mariah said, Quad is coming back for season 11. So then Carlos was like, it's time for you to make your debut back on reality TV. Mariah says she's ready for TV. She said, what ensemble cast do you see me with? And stuff like that. And he says that he feels that Mariah was born to be a reality TV star. She ain't really like that, because she was like, that's like someone calling you a blogger. Like, she sees herself doing more. She says her gift is bringing the best out of people. I said, I don't know about that. Because I don't know about that, lady. So then they talk about possibly producing a show together called Love and Marriage, ATL. I said, girl, if I was a doctor or any healthcare professional or any professional, I would not get on that show. Because the way those fans for Love and Marriage Huntsville are so fanatical. Like, you got people going to people's jobs and warehouses. I would not. Like, I feel like them type of fans would get your license revoked over some nonsense. I would never. And it's like, I would not trust that type of, like, no, I wouldn't do it if I was any of them. But they talk about how creative Carlos is, how creative Mariah is. We find out that she does have that show in the works, her talk show called The Glow Up. She filmed those 3 episodes, and she was like, it's just going to be talking about entrepreneurship, how to, get a seat at the table and maintain your seat at the table. They do the whole Libra thing again, and then they end up giving each other like their, I don't know. It just, at the end, it felt so disingenuous from both of them. Like, them both saying, I'm just so proud of you. Where it was different when Carlos and Nene did it. Like, it felt more genuine to me. This just felt like put on. And I don't know. It felt phony. That's what it is. It felt really phony to me. And I just was like, I don't know. It didn't hit the way. Him doing the prayer hands like he was about to cry. It just didn't hit the way I think they thought it was supposed to. I mean, maybe it hit other people at the end when they were like hugging, but for me, it just felt very like forced and phony. So that was pretty much the end of the interview. But what I will say that I took away from the show was that Mariah has a great producer mind. And I feel like her like wanting to be in front of the camera is going to hinder her, because listening to her speak to Carlos about what she thinks these women need to do to create a better show, how they need to run this storyline or tap into this or tap into that, I was like, oh wow, this makes a lot of sense. This is what you should be doing. You should be producing shows. I think Mariah needs to be on her Mona Scott Young and be creating franchises or different iterations of Married to Medicine. Like Mona Scott Young got 4 different versions of Love and Hip Hop. You got Atlanta, New York, Miami, and Hollywood. Like we had Married to Medicine in LA, but it only got 2 seasons. And I don't know why we like, honestly, we should be on like season 5 or 6 by now. Then you had Married to Medicine Houston, which only had 1 season, and they should be on like their third, like no, maybe because Houston came out before LA. They should probably be on like their 9th or 8th season. It's just that like I feel as though like listening to Mariah, had she had her hands in the pot with those shows, they would have been successful listening to how she speaks. I don't really think she should be in front of the camera. And don't get me wrong, I think she's great for TV. She's funny, she's witty, she could be catty, she could be bitchy. Like, she gives good TV, but I feel like she would be so much more powerful and more impactful being a producer, being a creator of these shows, and giving us good content. And that's not to say she wasn't integral to Married to Medicine, because she absolutely was. All those ladies were in the beginning season to making what Married to Medicine is, making it iconic. Simone, Jackie, Quad, even Lisa Nicole, Toya, Mariah, Heavenly, like they all, and then you sprinkle in Carrie in there, like they made Married to Medicine iconic. So she was definitely important, and she helped, and she did that. I just feel like at this point, girl, I wouldn't want to be on TV, especially with the mind that you have. You should be behind the scenes, in my opinion. So that is it. That is all, you guys. Remember to be bravely authentic, and definitely hop down in them comments below. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.